Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Aldon, your host for Fierce Women TV. Thanks for joining us today. I have Munif Ali, CEO of ThinkRuptor.com. Everybody, if you haven't downloaded your free issue yet, it can be downloaded in the store. Go to your app store and download it today. It's Think Ruptor magazine. And, you know, it's interesting. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but the way that you've chosen the people to feature, and it's interesting because the people that you have, they're real innovators in the tech space for the kind of stuff that they're doing. So I want to talk a little bit more about Think Ruptor in a moment. But first, tell us about Powerful Habits, Munif, because this is really everything that you've built your business on moving forward. You have a very specific platform that helps people focus, and it helps people meet their goals. So tell us about Powerful Habits. Like, what's the origin of it and the structure?
So Power Habits really kind of evolved where I was speaking, at like company meetings and events here and there through with some of my brick and mortar investments, and people started to come to me and say, "Oh, that was a really great, speech that you gave. It really inspired me to do something, whether it was something in business or something personal like weight loss or spending more time with the family. It really centered me." So I started to think about ways that I can give back to the employees involved and the people that work for me and my greater team. And at the time, there was a coach in place, and I with one of my businesses, and I wasn't very happy with the results. There wasn't a lot of accountability and structure, and like I often do, I demand excellence because that's what I do. That's what I try to demand of myself. And when it wasn't being delivered, I said, you know what? I honestly think that I can do a better job because of the way I feel about giving back information to the people that I care about. So this was an audience that knew me, that I could be personal with, because I've always been used to being backstage in the businesses that I'm involved with.
Right.
I don't tend to run them, from the front, if you will.
Yes.
And so Power Habits caused me to come out and be more vocal. And I started to establish a program that I had in my mind. I had in my journals for a long time. I'm a big advocate of journaling. And remember, after losing everything basically that I owned, down to cars and homes and everything else, I started to look at, hey, what got me as a young person and so successful by age 30? I had evolved to the point where I was no longer habitual in seeking success, and ultimately that led to failure. And so from 35 on, I started to journal all of my activities, and what I found out is that when I strayed away from the rituals that led me there, I would face failure, uncertainty. But when I started to really dial down on my habits, and I started to really study that not only my habits need to be in sync with what my actions and my dreams and my goals are, but the most successful people in the world are ritualistic and quite boring sometimes with their rituals, and most of it happens in the morning. And so I started to really peel back the layers. I developed Power Habits for real estate, but it evolved into much more, because once I put a Facebook Live and some videos out there, more and more people started to come forward and say, what you're doing, what you're saying, and the system is changing my life. And it was, I would say, one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done, but also one of the most selfish things that I've ever done, because in building Power Habits, I personally learned a lot about myself, and I was able to project that into the systems. And those systems can be applied to not only real estate, but sales, to the fitness industry, to the supplement industry. And so we are our habits and our rituals. And the moment you can start to focus in on the things that matter the most in your life and how to set up systems around it, you start to become and have a more productive lifestyle. So it's through discipline and willpower that you actually get freedom. And I know it's kind of an oxymoron because people think that freedom and discipline mean a lack of movement, a lack of growth, or a lack of freedom, but it's quite the opposite. When you put all your willpower into forging out the disciplines and the habits needed, you actually have a lot more freedom.
What I heard you say, Munif, is that I need to become a morning person.
I'm sorry you froze up a little bit.
Oh, I said what I heard you say is that I need to become a morning person.
Basically.
I think it's great. The way that you've designed this program, it really helps people get focus, because I speak a lot at conferences. I talk a lot about soft skills, and we hear people often, they talk about, oh, if you're just passionate enough, that startup will work. But really, you can have all the passion you want, but if you're chaotic and you don't have those systems in place and you don't have the support, then really you're just kind of running around chasing your tail. And I see this with a lot of entrepreneurs. I see this with a lot of small startups who are trying to get off the ground if they don't have that discipline. So, what kind of results are you seeing with people who are in this program? What kind of results can people expect to see when they follow through with Power Habits, the Power Habits program?
So one thing I noticed about coaching and coaches was that, your usual coaching session was a phone call, like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and then some advent of accountability added, measured by numbers. So if you wanted to lose weight, if you wanted to lose 10 pounds in a month, then your check-in at week number 1 phone conversation would go, what was your activities and whatnot. But I honestly believe that to be the greatest version of you, and that greatness is a daily exercise. So accountability, thus, needs to be a daily exercise. So Power Habits, from what I know, is the only daily coaching program. Because think about it, I mean, we may watch a TV program or a movie one day and completely forget what we read, what we watched the next day, and we have to go back and recall it. So why not put success and the systems for success daily so that you know what your focus is supposed to be? So we've done Power Habits. I have done Monday through Friday for a week and a half of just, for a year and a half rather, of just focus on daily activities and rituals. And the results are amazing in that everything from, and this is how it's kind of evolved from real estate to other things. We were applying it to real estate, and we saw brand new agents become top $1 million producers. Brand spanking new, no connection to sales, no connection to real estate, but they were practicing not only, scripts and dialogues, but they were also looking at and measuring their daily activity every day and every day, Monday through Friday, and then the weekend they would come back Monday and report all their numbers again. So what ended up happening is people would say, you know what, I also applied the same system to losing weight or getting control of my high blood pressure or changing my diet or saving my marriage or having a better relationship with my children. And so it started to really evolve, as a lot of great products and services do, because you design it for one thing, but if it's amazing and great, then what ends up happening is other people influence other people, and you start to see abundant change take place.
What I love also about that is you're talking about how this applies not just to entrepreneurship, not just to your business. This is how you can really create a lifestyle where you're living authentically, where you are leading your life with an active mind and with a focused intent. And I think that's really cool, because in that case, it applies to so many other areas in your life. If people want to get their hands on this, and I know that it's kind of a closed system, and you're only taking it and sharing it with certain people, how can people get in touch with you to learn more about Power Habits? And I know you have bigger plans for it, and I'm not going to share today that with the program, that you maybe want to expand it out. But for now, as people want to learn more about that program, what is the best way for people to maybe just understand or get a little bit more information about Power Habits?
They can go to powerhabits.com